All right. I'm gonna put the head bolts in. Um, these are Dorman. Not my first choice. Usually that name is a bad sign. But these are made in the USA, so hopefully they're good. So I've got a subscription for All Data DIY for this vehicle, just so I can get all the torque specs and such. It's $20 a year. You can print it out, save it for later, give you your torque sequence and everything. It's a good idea to have it. Listen, this vehicle's in 1989. I could get the information online, but $20 is a small price to pay to have all the information I need very quickly without screwing around trying to Google everything. So, all right. All right. I don't think I got a good angle here for you. I'm going to snug these down with an electric ratchet. It's probably not the exact best idea, but I think it'll be fine. The Milwaukee ratchet's not that powerful, and I'm just going to snug them right till they stop. And I'm going to go ahead and do it off of the tightening sequence here. All right, something that might help if you're dealing with more bolts or maybe a little more complicated. This one's very simple. I went and numbered the head bolts, though my pen started dying on the outside one, so it really wasn't all that useful. But that is something you can do if you think it will help you. So looking here, our first torque is going to be 67 to 75 Newton meters. I've got the torque wrench set to 73 just in case we overshoot it a hair, and we'll start torquing it down. All right, I'm not sure if this is going to record upside down, but here we go. All right, what's this thing doing here? I think it's giving me a low battery. Let me attack that before I do anything else. All right, I replaced the batteries. It showed that it had full battery. I don't know what the deal is, but that's not something you want to mess with. Things like torque wrenches, voltmeters, ohm meters, whatever. These things tend to turn into random number, generators whenever the batteries get real low. So we'll start this again. I got a little bit longer extension. I don't really like using one this long, but as long as we're slow and steady with the torque, it shouldn't affect it too much. All right. So yeah, we set 73, hit 74.4. Another thing I think is important whenever you're torquing something, especially cylinder heads, anything precision, but man, with like wheels and such, things can wait. Make sure your kid's inside, make sure your dog's inside, make sure you don't get distracted. You know, you don't want to be in a situation where you have to walk away from it. You know, you open yourself up to error. So we were at a little over 74 on that one as well. Flip my torque sequence back over. Now this is a 5/8 inch bolt, just, you know, in case you're wondering. You know, these are torque to yield, so you're not supposed to reuse them. You just keep that in mind. You know, they're cheap enough, $1 or $2 a piece. You know, something like a cylinder head, you don't want to do it again. All right. Alright, so I'm going to have to switch up for this one, which will be slightly annoying, because I'm not going to have a very wide arc. All this junk in the way. Alright. That was 8. Now we'll go to 9. You know, with these digital torque wrenches too, it's really easy to smack the buttons if you're not looking. So it might be a good idea to periodically recheck and make sure you're where you need to be. You know, if you had a click style, it's a good idea to periodically check it and just make sure you're on the setting you need to be on. I'm gonna go back to number 10 now. '73. I've been getting them all right in the 74s. All right. That was 10. 11's going to be up front. Put our extension back on. And you can feel the springiness of the extension. That's why I said you got to be very slow coming up on the torque. Make sure you're getting it all there. All right, we hit 74. So we're gonna go to number 12, which is gonna be back left. There we go. Number 13. And then the last bolt will be number 14, and I'll probably go around and snug them up one more, or give them one little hit without the extension, just to make sure I'm not, you know, make sure I'm not out to lunch on any of them. All right, torque sequence number 2 is 82 to 88 Newton meters. I've got to set it 86. I do wish this torque wrench had, like the snap-ons do, where they have lights that, like, you know, give you, I don't know, was it like 3 or 4 lights until you hit the last one and you know you have it torqued? Where I just have a 90, 100%, 110. Other than that, it's been a great torque wrench. All right, that's step number 2. Let me know if I missed one. All right, so we'll go on to sequence number 3. All right, so sequence number 3 is 110, or sorry, 94 to 150 Newton meters. I'm set to 110, which I think is a little over 80 foot-pounds. So nothing too crazy. I think I got it in me. We'll see. I do wish this ratchet was a little bit finer tooth. All right, so that is it for the head. I guess I'll have to grab the rockers and all that. Push rods. I got new push rods. Some of the ones I took out when I rolled them had a little weeble wobble to them. Not exactly sure why. I mean, you know, this truck's 21, 22 years old, so, you know, I'm sure she's held hands with a few before me. But I'm gonna go grab all that stuff. I'll look up the specs for that, and then we'll start with that. All right, I've got to have the assembly, so the push rods, sinking in some oil. You know, you could probably just jam them in, throw a little oil or assembly lube on them, be fine, but I don't know. We'll go and drop them in. All right. I'm gonna go get the rockers, clean them off, and then throw them on. Alrighty. I'm gonna jam these rockers back in. Get on there. You know, I took these out in order because I don't know. Because if you were reusing the push rods, you know, you'd want, you know, especially if you're reusing the heads and everything. I mean, you'd want to get them all matched because they've all worn together. But honestly, in this scenario, I don't really think it matters. But I'm by no means a professional engine builder. That much should be apparent. Oh, let's see here. I really probably don't want any of that oil going in those holes because I could hydrolock it where, you know, I'm trying to push the bolt in and oil is occupying the same space. So I need to be careful of that. That is something I need to consider. I probably should have taken the rockers off the studs. But you know, I've never been accused of being a particularly smart man, so you know, why start now? I should be able, if there's an issue, I can blow this out. That's not a big deal. I surmise I'll be able to feel it when I start tightening. If there is an issue. I'll get my meat nuggets to start that bolt, that'd be great. I just want them to get a couple turns on them. Now I'm going to snug them up with the Milwaukee ratchet again, and then I'll torque them. These are torqued to, what is it? 24 to 31 Newton meters. Which the high end of that is in like the 22 foot-pound range, and that's what I'll use because my 3/8 inch torque wrench. For some reason, the Newton meter side, I always get tripped up on reading it, which is a weird thing to say as an adult. But I've made a mistake in the past. And I try to learn from my mistakes as best I can. Which sometimes I'm more successful than others at that. So, I'll admit. All right. Start torquing these bolts. Now, 22 foot-pounds actually feels like a bit on this little 3/8 ratchet. But it's really not. I probably could have given it a little bit more on that Milwaukee, because I think it'll only do full tilt like 40 foot-pounds, 44. I forget what they say, but I don't know that it even does that. I'm not actually sure. I guess I should. I don't know if you're supposed to bar the engine over, get each of these cylinders top dead center. It's probably a smart thing. I'm not sure. Now that I'm making a YouTube video about it, I kind of makes you think. But my suspicion is the clamping force of the bolt, should be no match for the valve spring. I put a little bit more on it than I intended, but that's fine. I'm a little shy of the torque spec anyway. And I do that just I'm a little shy of the maximum torque spec just because, in case I give it a little bit extra. I got a little bit of leeway. Also, I'm sure you could probably just ugga-dugga these down. probably never have a problem, but you know, we should probably do things the right way. So from here, you know, I don't exactly know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to get the valve cover on first, and then I don't know. I suppose I should probably put the valve cover on to protect all this, and then worry about hooking the exhaust manifold back up. I got the air tubes I need to put in because I retained that whole system. Obviously the intake manifold, I got to put spark plugs in. I think I broke some of the wires, so I'm going to look at those. So they're new wires to see if I can't fix it, rather than, you know, spending 40 bucks for another set. I don't know. I got to get the injectors will go into the intake manifold. I still got to pull those apart and clean them. So you know what? Let's put the valve cover on, and then just to keep all this clean, and then I'll worry about the exhaust manifold. Alrighty, I'm going to snug down the valve cover. Using a 7/16 socket, seems to fit them nice. And, you know, anybody that works on anything from the late 80s, early 90s knows that they're a pretty wild mix of standard and metric. I lost one of the valve cover bolts. I had to go grab one out of the stockpile. So it's a lot shinier than all the rest. I cleaned up the valve cover just a hair, just a little bit. All right. All right. So what do we got here? So Ford, I think, often calls them a rocker. What do they call these? I don't think they call them valve covers. Maybe rocker covers, something like that. Let's see here. Rocker arm cover. 8 to 12 Newton meters. So let's take a look at that. Hey, you know what? We'll do this the easy way. Okay, Google. What is 12 Newton meters to inch pounds?
12 Newton meters is approximately 106.209 inch pounds force.
So we'll go, we'll just go 100 inch pounds to keep it easy. I mean, in all reality, this isn't absolutely necessary, but it's but why not? It's like I'm setting a world record on longest amount of time to tighten the valve cover down. Alright, we got kind of our all-in-one intake exhaust manifold here. You know, smart man would probably go put a jack under the exhaust, but I am not a smart man. The smart man would probably also not try to use a little 1/4 inch impact. Hello. But once again, not a smart man. Huh. Oh, do I want to fight with this? Or do I just want to go get the jack? Do I want to fight with it, or do I just want to go get the jack? That's a great question. Seems like I'm choosing to fight with it. Probably not smart. Because I need it to go that way and up, which is going to be difficult. Maybe I need to loosen that up a hair. Maybe that's what I need. Oh, the ratchets give me a little bit of problem there. All right. You know, I'm sure these bolts are a 9/16, but I'm using a 14 millimeter on them. You know, we'll see. We'll see how that goes for me. Oh, you didn't get it, big fella. There we go. All right. Let's see. I gotta remember, it's been a while. But you know, like a lot of these older inline motors, will use some of the same bolts for the intake and exhaust. So I need to figure out which ones are exhaust only and put those in. I don't know. I'll take a look. I'm not particularly concerned about torquing this because these bolts are pretty nasty. I don't think you get any kind of accurate torque reading on them. All right. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot some carb cleaner down these holes, the fuel injector holes, because they're pretty crummy, and hit them with a little brass brush. So, let me come over here. See if my camera will not try to gimbal itself out of this. So that one looks a lot clearer than that one. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna do that to all of them. All of them, hopefully get them looking a lot better. Alrighty, folks. Well, my wife came home, and then it was time for the kid to get off the bus, so I ended up stepping away from this and coming back, and fighting with all these bolts. You know, the thing I can recommend doing is the exhaust is pretty easy with the intake manifold. It's kind of pretty fiddly getting in. You know, I recommend you know, leaving all the bolts loose until you get those bottom ones in, because those are the ones that are going to fight you. Forgot to put the little engine lift bracket on, so I had to go back and put that on and change the bolts. Still need to put in the little air tube things. I need to do that before I get too much. I think that's the next thing I need to do. And the fuel rail and all that, I need to rebuild those injectors. Maybe actually that's what I'll do right now. So I'll pull these injectors out, get them on the workbench, and pull them apart and rebuild them. See what that's like. Alrighty, I got these injectors here. This person, I bought the little kit on eBay. Somebody goes through and I guess gets all the parts, and I don't know. It seemed a lot easier than trying to order all the parts separately. It was like $15 with free shipping, or $16. It wasn't that much. Caster Automotive, it looks like. So I don't know. I'm gonna take a look at this, see what it takes to pull these apart, and we'll find out. Alrighty. I did one so I could figure it out, so you wouldn't have to see me fiddle farting around. So I'm not exactly sure the orientation of the O-rings. The O-rings, the different color ones that come in the kit, seem identical. Instructions don't really say anything. So we yoink the pintle cap off, O-ring and a spacer. Give her a little spritz of the good stuff. I'm going to use a screw and go in the back of this injector. Screw in. Just biting pretty good. I don't think you want to screw in too much. You'll be, you know, forcing it out. I got the little filter out. I don't know if that'll focus on that. We'll give her a little spritz. Actually, we'll pull this O-ring off too. Pop in our new filter. Every tool has a hammer side. Again, I don't know what color is supposed to go where, but we'll keep it consistent. I'll do the orange on top. Slap on my new spacer. Do the black on the bottom. Put on our new pintle cap. And yeah, hopefully that'll keep it running. I didn't really have any injector problems, but it has been sitting for a couple months, and I don't know. It seemed like a good idea. So, and also I noticed the O-rings were torn, or I pulled them out. I had to pull the fuel rail out of the intake manifold. So anyway, that's 2 down, and I guess I'm just gonna slam out the rest of these. All right, well, my camera's freaking out. Anyway, got them all done. It goes real quick. Once you get a, once you get a system going, it only takes a couple minutes. I never did figure out what those little yellow spacers were for. There wasn't anything like that on the old ones, and the O-rings between the old O-rings and the new ones seemed very similar. So I don't know. But we'll put this in so we can get the fuel rail in. So we'll be ready to get the air tube in, and then put the upper intake manifold on.